over the years of being an entrepreneur, I was getting burnt out. And I'm a high believer in personal development and in mindset. And I was like, there has to be a better way to do this. When you have a gut feeling, your intuition, think about it. Where are you feeling it in your body? And my theme of the year is trusting my intuition, because I know that's the Holy Spirit telling me this is where you need to go.
Visionary, thank you so much for joining me here at the Nothing for Granted podcast. Once again, I am beyond excited to have a special guest with me today. It's Kawai Akin from the Homeschooling Entrepreneur Mom podcast. Yes. Today it's going to be spicy, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead. You already know how I do. There's no way I could do Kawai justice. So I'm going to give her the floor so she could introduce her baddie self.
Aloha, aloha. My name is Kawai Lani, but everyone calls me Kawai Akin, and I am a homeschool mama of 5. I am an entrepreneur. I have a health and wellness business. I always feel like I have another thing on my mind. So I have a podcast, Homeschooling Entrepreneur Mom, where I talk all about exactly that. Being homeschooling, being a homeschooling mom, being an entrepreneur, having an online business, and how the heck you do it all as a mom. I share with you my hacks. I share with you how we do homeschooling and how you as a mom can definitely build a business alongside it all. And then I'm just going to say the best thing that I do, and I do so well, is I help other moms really find a way to ignite that fire in them, whether it is for homeschooling, whether it's for entrepreneurship, or whether it's for something else that I learned just recently with Goddess Yoga. So I'm so excited about this episode because I get to share that all with you.
Yes. So this episode kind of just flourished on its own. Kawai had posted a reel just about Goddess Yoga and like the sensuality behind it. And you guys know I love talking about just balancing your energy and the management of your energy, the management of your time. And so today we are going to be talking about Goddess Yoga and how this is beneficial to our overall fitness and work balance, especially for those of us that are mompreneurs, that, maybe you're like us, mom of multiple children, you're running businesses. If you're like me, you're still in university and you're just wearing all the hats. And sometimes you can feel blah. Sometimes you can feel just so gross. And so really kicking off with that, just acknowledging all the different hats that we wear. We can be moms, we can be business owners, we're educators as homeschool parents, but we're still fierce and we're still sexy. And how do you balance all those roles in a way that is sustainable ultimately?
Yes. And I'm going to start prior to even discovering Goddess Yoga. Prior to that, I have been an entrepreneur for going on 9 years. And I basically left my nursing job to become an entrepreneur because I started having more kids. Basically, let's be real. I had 1, I was like, this is cool. I still can work as a nurse. And then 2 came along and I was like, I'm getting a little tired. And then when number 3 came along and I was missing out on things, where I realized that our schedule is being dictated by my work schedule, I knew something had to change. And that's where I took entrepreneurship real serious. Prior to that, I was just like doing it as a side hustle, trying to integrate it into my life. And then that 3rd child, my middle, he was the ignition, that light that just went, just go, mom. You can try it. Let's just figure it out along the way. And I've been doing that ever since. But what ended up happening was, over the years of being an entrepreneur, having 2 more kids and started doing homeschooling, and then had to figure out how to take care of a home, errands, and all the things that come with being a mom, I was getting burnt out. And I'm a high believer in personal development and in mindset. And I was like, there has to be a better way to do this. So I was trying to tap into every single resource I could: podcasting, trainings, books, anything I could get my hand on. I would, learn about it, apply it, try and do it better. And things just happen in your life where you maybe go through relationships with other people and you don't realize how toxic it was for yourself. So I had to go through that and then realize like all you're doing is hustling again, and you're almost going back to the beginning where you left I left my job as a nurse so I didn't have to feel like this again. And then I thought I was good. I really thought I was like, okay, I got everything in order. I'm figuring it out. I'm doing it all here and there. But I was realizing that certain habits kept happening. And when I talk about certain habits, I would get to a point sometimes when I'm like, okay, I need a break. So I'll just take a break. And then I'm like, okay, I'll come back to it, like build myself back up. And be like, okay, I'm ready to attack again. And I realized that was a cycle I needed to stop. And here came Goddess Yoga out of the blue. And I truly believe God puts me in places that I am meant to be in. And when you have that faith, when you start trusting your intuition, you're going to see so much of God's plan unfold in front of you, especially when you don't understand it. Like, that's the one that you really got to step full into, because when you don't understand it, your mind is going to prevent you from even considering it or trying something new. And so what ended up happening was in January, me and one of my really good friends, we were going to Phoenix for a corporate event. But prior to the event, we were like, you know what? We just want to like prep our mind, body, and soul for this event in Phoenix. And she suggested, you want to go to Sedona? I heard there's like a lot of like great energy there. There's beautiful hikes. It's only 2 hours away. And I was like, sure, I'm an adventurer. Let's go. So I went up with her. We only went up to Sedona for a day. Like, it was just to kind of get away, trying to like set our energy and mind up for this huge event. It was our first in-person event for my online company that I do business with. And when we got there, we went on a hike. It's so beautiful. Sedona is gorgeous. And I just remember 11 o'clock at night. So my friend, her name is Uy. She also has her own podcast. And her thing is she's a very, very opposite from me, where she is very empath. So she can feel things. And she likes to call herself like a hippie, but she she just loves, things of nature. She loves the water. She lives in Maui, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm total opposite. I'm I'm very systematic. I need to know what's happening. I have to like have everything kind of figured out. I'm positive, but I don't go into emotions like that. And so we play off each other very well. And then when we were there, she's like, I want to go to maybe a sound bath or a massage. And I'm like, all right, let's do this, because why not? Like, wherever we end up, that's where we're meant to be. And she found a Goddess Yoga class at the time that we could still go to and head back to Phoenix. And we go there, and it was like life changing. What Goddess Yoga is, it's a art of sacred and sensual movement. It was a class only for women. It has all these like little rituals in it, starting with a share circle. We didn't even start yoga class. Now, I would be very real. I don't do yoga. I do every other fitness and sports, and I thought yoga was boring. So I was like, I'm good. But I'm always down to try something new. So she's like, you want to do Goddess Yoga? I'm like, okay. So the extent of my yoga was P90X exercises. Like, so if you relate to that, then you are so me. I have done CrossFit. I am a part of a gym here called Eat the Frog, and I love it. I love that like sweaty, high intense weightlifting workout kind of thing. And so I was like, I'm down. Let's do yoga. Sure. So I get in there. I'm ready to go. And they're like, okay, we're going to start with a share circle. And I'm like, okay, what are we sharing? Like, what's happening here? And then we just go through, and then they just said, like, share what's on your heart. By the time it got to me, I was a hot mess. I was like crying, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. I'm like, I can feel all your energy. Like, the power in with women was incredible. Mind you, my friend started crying first, because when it was her time to share, empath, right? So she was sharing, crying. I was like, stop. What are you doing? And by the time it came to me, I was like, it was a release that I didn't realize my body needed. And so that set the tone. Like, it wasn't, I don't want to scare you off. It wasn't like you had to share all of that. You didn't have to, but I just trusted my intuition, and it felt like something had to be said. So I just like went with it, whatever had to be said. And I just remember telling them, like, I feel such a power in here. Like, your guys' energy, whatever is happening, like, this is definitely where I was meant to be. By the time we finished the share circle, started getting into, it's yoga inspired. It has belly dancing in it. It has all the central movements that as women, we are meant to move. We can go more into it later, but what eventually happened, once we went through the entire class, by the end, I felt like not only like things was lifted from me, like a burden, but I also felt like I could speak more of my truth. Like, it gave me that safety to go, okay, like, it's okay. Just admit, why you locked off your emotion. And I didn't realize how big of a wall I put up until that part where, like, I was telling them I could feel all of you, and I never allowed myself to do that. So since then, we just took one class, and we felt like we're on this like natural high, like driving back to Phoenix, just singing. And like, I'm pretty sure I can find the stories, but we're like, like driving home. So people probably thought something else was happening, but that's all that happened. And by the time we got to Phoenix, it was the best event ever. My husband joined me that next day, and he's like, he could feel it. He's like, what happened? And I was like, I don't know, but something great happened. He's like, I can hear it in your voice. I can feel it. And then eventually what happened, they told us there was a goddess yoga instructor training coming along in February. And mind you, we only took one class, right? By the time we left, we were just joking, like, we wouldn't do that. 2 weeks after coming home, she calls me, my friend. She's like, I'm thinking about becoming an instructor. And I was like, let's do it. So that's what happened. We went back, we got trained to be instructors. And from then, it's like, I realized God put me there to share this with other women who are feeling similar, especially other moms who, and you don't have to be a mom, but I'm going to talk to the mamas. This is especially for moms who feel like that fire inside of them has burnt out, or that fire inside of them is barely a flicker. Like, I want to help you reignite that, not only for yourself, but it also helps you with your marriage. It helps you with being a mom. It helps you with your business. You will see it just go through all of that. And then your connection with God too, it's going to be like amazing. I'll let you talk now because I'm so
All I see is
excited.
like explosions. Like, I'm literally like nuclear explosions everywhere. You said feelings, and instantly I was like, oh, there's feelings involved. Hold on. No. That's okay. So if you guys are not new to my podcast, I'm that one person, I'm that one friend that when the other friend starts to cry, I'm like, let me go get a Starbucks. Like, I will make whatever excuse I have to make to walk away. I am not the friend that's like, come and cuddle. I'm like, oh.
Me too. I'm like, you need a pep talk? I'll be the pep talker.
Right. I'm like, can you get off your butt? Like, stop crying. You're making me uncomfortable. But I do like what you said about the flow of the energy in that room full of women. Like, I think that there's something undeniable that happens when you put two women together in any space. I think that even if it's two women, okay, let's be real, even if it's two women that do not get along, you can feel that friction so palpable that you're like, oh God, I gotta get out of here. Like, you,
Right.
energy between women, it's like, it's energizing, it's exciting. And so it's not surprising to me that when you're putting powerhouse women in one room together, something has to happen. And I love how you mentioned just what a difference that made. What a difference. I'm assuming it's like a 1 hour class. What a difference 1 hour can make on the next couple of months in your life. I'm talking your marriage, I'm talking your energy levels, the excitement that you're bringing to schooling your children and or just being present with your children, because you took that time to invest in yourself and making you feel full again, not because of what your body looks like, but because of the way that your body can move. I think that there's a certain appreciation in that, and just appreciating like every limb of your body, appreciating the fact that you are a creator. Not you were made by the creator to be a creator. Like that within itself is like, oh my God, I make things like other humans. That's crazy, right? Like,
Right.
come on.
Legit.
Come on. And I love that. I love everything about that, because even down to like the name of it, goddess yoga, it really is a reminder to those of us who have multiple children or just have one child, right? How often do you hear of women that are like, I had this baby and I can't connect with them. I can't connect with my husband. I can't even connect with myself. I'm having difficulties just identifying who I am once again, feeling like myself once again, and just having something that not only gets you moving, right? Mentally, physically, just spiritually, not only that, but something that challenges you. If you're like us, who you're not necessarily like, I have to work really hard on my empathy, like all the time. And that would be a challenge for me. Like, okay, how can I tap into those feelings and be vulnerable in that setting? And when I allow myself to do that, I'm not doing it for the other people. I'm really doing it for myself. I'm really releasing what needs to be released so that I can make space. And that's like the theme of this month for me. Like, how can I make space for things that really matter and relinquish the things that don't? What would you say? What would you say would be the hardest part of building a business, right? Building a home, not even just a business, but building a life where you have so much pressure on you, right? To pay the bills, to be the perfect mom, to be the perfect wife, to show up for your husband, and fulfill all those roles, versus being able to give yourself to yourself. Does that make sense? Like, just
Yes.
invest in yourself and in your personal and physical growth.
Right. No, that makes total sense. The hardest part would be because as women, as moms, we are told to be last. Like, we are told, put everybody's needs first, make sure that you don't hurt anybody else's feelings. And like, let's start with the put everybody else's needs first. You get what's left over, if anything. And that makes you a great mom because you sacrificed it all. And when you do all of that, you get left being empty, and you're still trying to do that without, breaking apart and like having yourself like yell at people or go crazy. And that is hard. Same thing as holding the beliefs of, I don't want to hurt their feelings. So I'm just going to sit here and let everybody trample my feelings because it's the good thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Don't worry. You will be, quote unquote, the better person if you do that. And it's like, really, you don't. So the hardest part is breaking through. And I love how we talk about mindset. It's breaking through all those limiting beliefs, those mindset, your negative thoughts that you had prior. Because once you start breaking through those and realizing how important it is to put yourself first so that you can give more to others, so that you can show up 100%, so that you are giving from an overflowing cup versus barely empty. And that's when you can quote unquote do it all. And really, you're not doing it all. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, what God made you here. And that was one thing I had to work through, is like, I'm not doing it all. God is the only one who can do it all. Let's be real. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing what our purpose is. If you are giving from a full cup, if you are, pouring in to, if you're pouring into everything that you're supposed to be pouring into, and really trusting in faith. So for me, prior to Goddess Yoga, I thought I was doing it all, but I was still feeling the burnt out, maybe not as often. So that was the difference. In the beginning, I was feeling the burnt out all the time. And then I did personal development. I changed my mindset. And it's going to be a continuous thing, guys. It's not like one and done. I read a book and I am going to be changed forever. You constantly will be working on yourself. You will be discovering new things that maybe you still hold on to, or that you need to work through. And when you realize that it's a journey and not a one and done, you're going to see more opportunities for you to be better, for you to show up more. And that's what this was. It was an opportunity to tap into my feminine side and not be ashamed of it. Understanding that is a part of me, because what I realized through Goddess Yoga, I was operating from that masculine side. Little emotions, 100%. I'm going to be that overachiever. I'm going to do it all. I don't need a man. I can be as independent as I want. I literally told my husband that when we first got together. Bless his heart for staying with me. And I was that person, like, I can do everything a man can do. Trust me. And I will get it done even better. And I operated from masculine to the point when I became a mom. I love playing with them and I love cuddles and all those things, but emotions, same thing, like, stop crying. And then I realized I'm doing the same thing that was done to me. And it really goes to going, okay, well, I need to be better and continually work on myself. And you will see that burnt out is not going to happen as often, or it shouldn't happen at all if you are doing what you are meant to do here. I'm not saying you don't take a break. I'm saying you shouldn't feel so exhausted and like questioning, should I really be doing this? If that is what you are meant to do here. If God put you there, then hello.
Yes, I love how you keep referencing just divine timing, because I really feel like that is such an important element of anything and everything that we do. Is, sometimes we ask God for things and it's just not the right time. It's not the right time, but where you are right now, that's exactly where you're supposed to be. I love that. My coach says that a lot to me. Like, of course this was going to happen because it was meant for you. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're operating within your purpose work. So it's supposed to feel almost effortless. And I love that you mentioned burnout, because in this funding field, burnout is just so common. It is the number one reason why grants professionals leave the industry. They burn out really quickly. The need is much higher than the demand. And so this is why I brought you on today, because I wanted to give listeners just a way that it's not just like, well, yeah, you can balance your life better if you work out. No, but how can we utilize working out and taking care of your physical body? How can we most work that in an efficient manner? Well, because you're working out your body, you're working out your mind. You also mentioned that this is going to bring you closer to God. Can you better explain that?
Yes. So when I went back for training, I was hesitant. I was like, what am I doing? Why do I think I can become a yoga instructor? Like, the doubt set in. Mind you, like, when I told my husband, he's like, sign up. He's like, do it. Because he, like your husband, I remember you were mentioning, he saw the same thing. Like he saw what transformation I had. He saw how it has opened me up to empathy, to feelings. Not that I was a hot mess after I came back, but I could relate more with my feelings. And he said, I can see the difference. So if this is an opportunity, go and take it. If one class did that for you, go and do it. And what I realized was it was hard because I pinpointed finally. It was the word goddess. So weird. It was like goddess was the word that was holding me back. And when I really sat with myself, I was in my brain, I was like, Kawai, how could you think of yourself as a goddess when you know that God is the only true one? Like, who do you think you are? Like, these are the crazy thoughts that was going through my head when I was flying to Phoenix. And I was like, oh my gosh, Kawai, what are you doing? Are you meant to be here? And then finally on like the second day, it was like, God came to me. I was like, I put you here. And when I realized that, I was like, yes, you did. The thing about goddess yoga, it is when they speak, they're like, this is open to women. All women need this down to the core. And they explain it in many different ways from your different chakras. And I don't understand that. I need to learn about those things. But they're like, let's just go down to the root of it. Let's talk about your womb. Down here, that's where your power is as a woman. That's where you can create life, like how you said. That's how, and when you get connected with God to that point and you start trusting your intuition, goddess yoga with the movements, with from the share circle to the movements to really going and working on yourself. And the thing about it is you're going to be at the end transformed where you can show up as the woman you're meant to show up as. And that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to show up 100%. And it's like you said, yes, I've heard it all the time. You have to move your body, you have to work out, you have to do meditation. And I'm that person where if I start meditating, I want to like 5 million things start going through my brain. Meditating really doesn't happen during meditation. And I'm like, okay, am I doing something wrong? And in the end, I realized it's not just those things. It can happen however you feel like it, but God also is understanding, like, I need you to show up as a woman and get in touch with your feminine side too. And when you think of it just down to that, that is huge. How much of you is loving your entire self, the masculine and the feminine side? When I work out, when you really think of the movements at like what you're doing, that's a lot of masculine movements. Whereas a woman, you're meant to be more fluid with the flow, more sensual. And I didn't realize how much I needed that, how I needed to take care and nurture that side of me in order to show up more and in order to fulfill my needs and just being a present person. Like it just blew my mind after that. So
I
yeah.
love how you talked about that gut feeling and that like female intuition. My husband's best friend, brother, he and like the three of us, we have like a little clique and it's real cool. However, anytime that I'm like, I don't think we should go out tonight. Oh, you guys want to go ride? I don't think that's a good idea. And now I've gotten to the point where I just won't say anything. And I remember one night in specific, I had like, it's Florida, y'all, but it was like Christmas time. So I put on the TV, like my faux fireplace. I had like my coquito and I'm like setting a vibe for myself. I'm getting ready to work. And I see my husband's cleaning. He's bathing the kids, putting pajamas on. I said, he's going to go out. Okay. And then he's like, oh, we're just going to go for a ride. I already knew that ride was not going to happen. I didn't say nothing. They literally turned around, not even Kawhi, not even half an hour later. Hysterical. My phone, it flew off the motorcycle. And I said, oh, I had a feeling y'all weren't going to go out. And he said, why didn't you say anything? I said, because anytime I say anything, you guys think that I'm just, oh my God, I can't think of it in English, but in Spanish, it's like tirando mal de ojo. So basically like throwing you bad vibes so that it doesn't happen. And I'm like, so now I just don't say anything. He's like, but you're always right. Why don't you say anything? And I'm like, because I'm always right and you guys are always upset. So I'm just going to let you go through it. But what I noticed is when I would try and suppress that gut feeling instead of trust it, first of all, it happens anyway. Like, let's be real. It happens anyway. But number two, I'm doing myself a disservice because the more that you exercise and release that gut feeling and that intuition, and the more you walk within that, it's not just intuition, it's discernment. I've come to learn that that is a spiritual gift that God has given us. It is discernment. And we have to nurture that. We have to just exercise that constantly so that it begins to build. I didn't just get to a point where every time I have a gut feeling, something happens. No, it started off with like, I feel like every single time that I'm like, man, this person is not beneficial to me, I end up being right. Why does that happen? And little by little, I was like, I'm going to start trusting myself. And the more that I trusted myself and the more that I walked in that and the more that I exercised that skill, the more I started walking within the path that God had for me. And like you said, started being in the rooms that God wanted me. And I just kind of feel like I'm a chess piece and he's putting me where I need to be, as long as I'm trusting that and I'm catering that, right? And nurturing that. And so I think that Goddess Yoga is really beautiful in doing that and really acknowledging and honoring that part of us, right? And to your point, I didn't even think of that. So I'm like a Peloton hack user, you know what I mean? Where like I have a non-Peloton bike, but I use the Peloton app. And I use it for everything. I use it for the bike and I use it for like my core and everything and just other exercises that they have. And to your point, they are very masculine exercises. And I didn't even consider that. So thank you for bringing that up. I also think it's interesting how you mentioned that you had a real problem with the word goddess and just comparing and making sure that we are not idolizing ourselves or comparing ourselves to being a god, because I do think that's a danger zone. And the fact that you had an issue with that speaks to your spiritual relationship with Jesus. Like, oh God, but I don't want to, like, this isn't okay. And a lot of people would be like, yes, 100%, I am a God. No, we were created in his image. So we were created with divinity as well. And we have purpose as women. We have power as women. And so I don't think that word is too far off. I think the word that I really struggled with at first and still a lot of times struggle with is the yoga piece, because yoga has a lot of a simulation to like Buddhism and so I really was like, okay, hold on. But the more that I started researching, the more I was like, oh no, wait, it's not necessarily that. And so I think if any of you are having issues with this, Kauai is the best person for you to talk to, because clearly God has given her wisdom to help guide you through that internal battle that you may have. I kind of want to segue into just the more physical aspects of it and what happens if there's a woman who hasn't really worked out in the past couple months or ever, if they have like zero workout experiences, because you mentioned that you did PF90 and that's a pretty intense program. What about my females out there that just they have no experiences? They're not physically inclined in that way, if you will.
This is perfect because there is no right or wrong way to do goddess yoga. Like I said, it's technically not yoga, which is the great thing about it. It's inspired through movements and through like, stances and how you position yourself. And the real thing is because I'm going to say it really truthfully. Yes, I do all this fitness thing, but when I see some yoga, or I think they call it yogis, or, people who practice it very good, I'm like, I cannot do that. I cannot do any of that. And that just looks very uncomfortable. But there really is no right or wrong way to do it. Like my job as a goddess yoga instructor is just to guide you through it. But the great thing about it, it's all about what your body needs. And you get to move your body. Like I will show you, okay, hey, maybe you can do this, or maybe you can do that, or this is a modification. But really what you're doing is you're giving yourself the permission to move how your body is yearning to move. Because as women, we are almost shamed to move very flowy and fluidly. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you circling your hips? Why are you doing this? Like it's almost like taboo when it's really not. It's just going, okay, my body feels like it just needs to do this or do that. And there's no right or wrong way. So in our goddess yoga instructor weekend, we had women from all ages. So women who are seasoned to women who are young. We had people like me who never did yoga.
Can I stop you for just a second? Because I noticed that we are talking about women. And if we're talking to moms, I think it's important for us to be clear. This is not like a mommy and me class, right? This is like, this ain't it, girl. go to goat yoga if that's what you're into. But this is not a mommy and me class, right?
This is more for mommy. Like for you to show up as that beautiful goddess, mommy, woman, whatever you relate to, this is for you. This is for you to tap into yourself first, tap into your intuition, tap into where it needs maybe some healing, or maybe something needs to come out, or you need to receive something. That's what it's meant for. And really, all you're doing is moving your body how your body wants to move. And if you feel like, okay, I need to loosen that up a little bit, you can loosen it up. But there is nothing extenuous. Like there's nothing like that here. If I need a workout like that, I'll just go to my gym. For this one, you still get a workout, but I feel like it's a full body, mind, and soul workout, which you will feel a difference that way versus just showing up to the gym and trying to get your heart rate up to a certain degree and like sweat and stuff like that. So very, like I said, different parts of you that you are catering to, and anyone can do it. So, and I encourage anyone to do it, whether you're just new to fitness and you're like, I have no clue, I'm clumsiest person ever, to maybe you're seasoned and you're like, I cannot move like that anymore. It's basically the criteria is you got to be a woman. That's it.
Right. I want to end on this note because my audience, they're founders. So they have like nonprofits and small businesses, they're freelancers. So either they're still working their 9 to 5 or they're transitioning into just full-time freelance work. But my point is that they're hella busy. Like they ain't got the time. What opportunities are there in order for them to exercise goddess yoga from wherever they are?
Yes. So there are instructors that do live classes. And if you can get into a live class, like anything else in person, so much more powerful. But there are options to doing it online. If you want to check it out, the main website is goddessyogainternational.com. And they have a free class on there too, like a quick 30-minute class that you can, go through with the creator. Her name is Holly. But other than that, yes, if you can find a way to do it between your life, because trust me, I am busy too. I totally understand the craziness and trying to fit things in. And that's why I'm offering virtual classes, because I get it. I'm a mom. Sometimes you don't have the time that normal studios or things like that offer, and you're like, I just want to fit it in when I can. And so I'm doing it from home so that moms, because like my main goal is really to help some mamas out, because I felt the difference. And I totally understand. Like, yes, the in-person, it actually is with hot yoga. So you have the heat to go along with the loud music, and like the whole ambiance is like very different in person, but you still can achieve the same thing in your bedroom and doing it in the privacy of your home. And so it's what can fit into your life. And I'm all about that. What can I do to help it fit into your life?
Yes. So a lot of my community, we are night owls. So absolutely, y'all, I'm going to share on socials and of course in the show notes down below, all of the information for just joining Kauai's Goddess Yoga virtual classes. I think that if any of you can catch any of the times, probably the later one, if you guys are up for it and you want to just feel nice and sexy and sensual right before going to bed, I'm sure your husband would love that. But I will link all of the information down below in the show notes. Kauai, before we let the audience go here, go ahead and share with us, where can they continue connecting, learning about you, learning about all the amazing things that you have to offer? Where can they further do that?
Yes. So you can definitely connect with me. Let's have a chat. I'm on Instagram, Kvai_Aquin. You can listen to my podcast at the Homeschooling Entrepreneur Mom. And that's the two best ways to just get connected with me, especially on Instagram. I love having conversations with anyone, especially like you said, about reels, about stories, just about life. It's a great way to connect in this world where everything has gone virtual, and still get to know people. And ultimately, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm here to answer the questions, and I can send you like a little thing to tell you all about it. And if you can, definitely jump in. I will be having more of these virtual classes. So if you can't make tomorrow, don't worry. I'll have more, and your first class is always free. So you can come, you can try it out, see if it's something you like. And just beware. I like how you said, yes, your hubby will appreciate you. Like, this has done so much. And mind you, it's not like me and my husband had a horrible relationship prior. He is such a supportive husband, loving husband, but this has ignited our marriage on a whole nother level. It also helped my being a mom. Like, I know same thing as you, I don't want to pray for patience because I know what will happen when you pray for it. But I did realize that it has allowed me to be more empathetic when I'm talking to my kids. And so, yeah, definitely appreciate all the things that has come out of it. So I really want to share it with any of you.
Yes, y'all. I am so excited to have Kauai here with me today. I hope that this episode has blessed you. Don't forget to rate and review, and I will catch you next week. Have a blessed rest of your day.